Damn it. They're onto us again. It's not the best time, is it?
I'm on it. 2 seconds.
Okay, we're close, Initiate. Arno and Germain had some kind of confrontation within the next few months, but we don't know where or how it ended. We're counting on you to find out.
Got it. The portal's open.
If all goes well, this is your last forced migration.
Yeah, and if it doesn't go so well, you could go into hippocampal shock and take your meals through an IV for the rest of your life.
Let's not dwell on that, shall we? This might look familiar to you. We're back in medieval Paris, late 14th century. You're outside the city walls now. I suggest you find your way back.
Medieval. 21, I guess. Medieval. The late Middle Ages were a turbulent time for Europe, struck first by Great Famine, 1315 to 1322, and the Black Death, followed by social turmoil and warfare. France was embroiled in the 100 Years' War with England, a conflict that ran from 1337 to 1453, as the two nations wrestled for control of the French throne. English expeditions into French soil, in which they would burn down crops and buildings, took their toll on the economy and the nation's morale. This led directly to the Jacquerie and peasant revolt in the north of Paris in 1358, which was followed by other uprisings, cementing France as a nation of unrest and presaging the revolution that was to take place much later, to the extent that two revolutions 4 centuries apart have anything whatsoever to do with one another. Toward the end of the 14th century, the Bastille was constructed to defend Paris from the English threat and played a vital role in internal conflicts. The stone required to build it was extracted from large quarries, parts of which were later used as ossuaries and known as the catacombs. 400 years later, the Bastille would become one of the symbols of the French Revolution when Parisians invaded the fortress.
falling apart. Find the exit, fast. You're nearly there. Follow my voice. Get to the exit, quickly!
Ooh, we made it. Well, that'll complete this episode. That was different. Thanks for watching and coming around. Bye for now.
Okay, Initiate, let's finish this. You're almost home.
Things have changed a great deal since you left Paris,
A great deal to be set right.
and we're no closer to finding Germain.
That's not entirely true. I have a name.
Who?
Robespierre. What's all this?
Robespierre. He's declared today a festival of the Supreme Being. A paean to the virtue of the nation and the citizens' duty toward it.
Why does that sound familiar?
As far as Templar doctrine goes, it's a loose interpretation.
We'll never get close to him in the middle of all this. We'd best retire and wait for a better opportunity.
Still thinking like an assassin. This...
École militaire. Once the domain of partridges, rabbits, and small game, it was in this former warren in Grenelle that Louis the 15th sought to build a military academy comparable with that founded by his great-grandfather, Louis the 14th. The idea was to house and educate 500 boys from poor, preferably war-stricken families, and to make elite officers of them. It was an undertaking primarily overseen and sponsored by the Marquise de Pompadour. As he wrote to her, "I have approved the project since you absolutely want it, my beloved." 8 years later, the first classes were held. One of the establishment's most famous pupils was young Napoleon Bonaparte. Élève du Roi, pupil of the king. Aged only 15, he graduated as a second lieutenant after a mere 12 months' study.
And I have the plan.
Oh? And what would that be?
Think like a Templar.
Amazing! Thought we were supposed to be rationalists now. What's he thinking?
Vive Robespierre!
Bravo!
Vive la liberté! The supreme being ain't called for Robespierre. I'll eat my hand.
Ridiculous pomp and circumstance.
Justice sans fête!
What now?
Robespierre is unassailable. He's got half the guard out in force. We'll never get within 10 yards of him.
Just what I said.
But he's not as popular as he was. The Purgers, the Supreme Being cult. If we can discredit him, he's finished.
Massive public spectacle is the perfect venue.
Exactly. Paint him as a dangerous lunatic and his power will evaporate like snow in April. But we'll need some convincing evidence.
I have an idea where to start. You coming?
Meet me after. I have my own arrangements to make.
Nous exigeons des actions! Rien n'est jamais fait!
Le Champ de Mars. The name of this green space, literally the field of Mars, is a tribute to the Greek god of war, since its lawns were used by the French military as an exercise ground. Surrounded by ditches and trees, it was nevertheless left open to the citizen population, and even served as an occasional playground for Parisian balloonists. It was thus a favorite leisure spot in Paris, and would be the scene of the revolution's key moments starting from 1790. On July 14, 1790, despite heavy rain, a crowd of some 300,000 attended the Fête de la Fédération, the Federation, in honor of the anniversary of the storming of the Bastille. Sounds lovely. We might visit. In November of 1793, former mayor of Paris, Jean Sullivan Bailey, was tortured for 2 hours by a frenzied mob in one of the field's ditches before being beheaded by a purpose-built guillotine. His execution was intended as an expiatory ceremony. Actually, I'll leave it. On June 8th, 1794, the Champs de Mars also hosted the Feast of the Supreme Being, devised and celebrated by Robespierre, subsequently frowned upon as a parody by his Jacobin colleagues, and which would hasten his downfall. Leveled and extended, it would offer Gustave Eiffel the perfect spot for his great steel structure 140 years later. Thereafter, the Champs de Mars served as the setting for princely weddings, national workshops, and horse racing, followed by concerts and imposing fireworks displays in the 20th century. Maximilien François Isidore de Robespierre. Deprived of his father from a very early age, Robespierre was raised by oratorians. He was a hard-working pupil with a passion for Roman history, which he would refer to almost obsessively in his later speeches. Trained as a lawyer and admitted to the Arras bar, he was destined for provincial mediocrity just as the Depression broke out. On April 20th, 1789, he was elected only 5th deputy out of 8 of the 3rd estate of Artois to the Estates General, but he would soon conquer Paris and would only ever return to Arras on one occasion. Over 5 years, he would speak out many times to various galleries. We are being watched by all nations. We are debating in the presence of the universe. Fine for him to do. If I tried shouting that in public, they'd have me committed. Despite his harsh voice, his Artois accent, he gained increasing attention. Of his private life, we know next to nothing. He lived elegantly, but without overindulging himself. His was a life based on regular study and maintaining good company. He had an overzealous distrust that would be offensive to schemers and supplicants. In fact, he did not court popularity and was all the more esteemed as a result. Once in power, Robespierre quickly shed his moderate image, favoring extremism and terror as tools for ruleship. After a reign that culminated in the Festival of the Supreme Being and the Terror, Robespierre lost the support of the Committee for Public Safety. His former allies turned on him, and he was deposed and executed. Can I just say that tickets to the next year's Festival of the Supreme Being and the Terror have already sold out due to popular demand.
Let's see. Incriminating evidence. Incriminating evidence.
Monsieur, as you have been the savior of the Republic, I beg you now to be my brother's savior as well. Even now he languishes in prison, arrested by patriots more zealous in their heroism than careful in their methods. No warrant for André's arrest was ever issued, and yet he remains imprisoned in Saint-Lazare under suspicion. I pray you do not recall my brother's writings in the Journal de Paris, coming as they did from an intemperate poet's heart. Rather, I beg you, if my own humble skills have been even the smallest of aid to our glorious revolution, spare my brother. In his writings, I see the burgeoning of France's greatest poet, a light that will shine for all time. Yours, in patriotism, Marie-Joseph Chenier.
Interesting, but not particularly helpful. Publiciste de la Révolution française, the day after Marat died.
Newspaper. What should one think of the Committee of Public Safety, or rather of its leaders? For most of its members are so negligent that they can barely manage to attend committee sessions for 2 hours of each 24, are unaware of almost everything that is done there, and doubtless are at most guilty of accepting a task they have no desire to fulfill. But the leaders are plain criminals for having carried out so shameful their functions. There is one among them whom the mountain has just foolishly reappointed, and whom I regard as the single most dangerous enemy of the country. Barrier. Barrier, indicated by Saint Foy to the king as one of the constitutionals to be relied upon personally. I am certain that he keeps a foot in both camps until the victor is clear. It is Barrier who has paralyzed even every forceful measure, leaving us helpless, our throats waiting to be slit. I call upon him to contradict me in such a way as to finally show that he is not a royalist in disguise.
Interesting, but not particularly helpful. Looks like a diary.
At exactly 5 in the morning, a general recall shall be sounded in Paris. This call shall invite every citizen, men and women alike, to immediately adorn their houses with the beloved colors of liberty, either by rehanging their flags or by embellishing their houses with garlands of flowers and greenery.
Maybe something a bit stronger. Merlin, Tallien, Bourdon. These are all deputies of the National Convention. Lists of political figures written in the hand of a man fond of sending his rivals to the guillotine. Yes, these should do nicely.
A-t-il perdu la raison?
The eternally happy day the French people consecrate the supreme being has finally arrived. Never has the world he created offered him a sight so worthy of his honor. He has been forgiven, accepted and reigned. At this moment, he sees an entire nation transformed before the oppressor.
Well?
A list of names. 50 or so deputies of the National Convention, all written in Robespierre's hand and all opposed to him.
I imagine those good gentlemen would be quite interested to know they're on that list. First, Monsieur Robespierre brought his own refreshments. Distract the guards. I have an idea.
Distract the guards. Right.
in turn with the daggers of fanaticism and the poison of atheism. They can no more tear the world from arms and daggers of fanaticism and the poison of atheism. They can no more tear the world. Arms in turn with the daggers of fanaticism and the poisons of atheism. People fear no more their sacrilegious conspiracy. People fear no more their sacrilegious conspiracies. They can no more tear the world from...
Widows so soon.
Lieutenant, no! What happened? Oh, son! I'll rip your liver out!
Generous, compassionate, and an excellent.
Yeah.
We must be generous, compassionate,
Get over here! I'll finish you quick if you ask nice! Disappear!
How did I get? Causes hallucinations. This will make him look mad. Now we have to make him look dangerous.
The list of names.
It must fall into the right hands, anonymously. If our involvement gets out, it'll tip Germain off.
Leave that part to me.
He has returned to nothing. Spirit of things that you fought overcome. Let all the crowds and demons
Get over here! I'll serve you up my famous tooth explosion!
Robespierre natters on about freedom and mercy, while thousands go to the guillotine. If Don somewhere allowed to see this, he would choke.
They endeavor to banish him from the earth, to reign alone.
Solutions are problems.
They can no more tear the world from the breast of its author than the remorse from their own heart. May be able to assassinate you, but it is not in their power to annihilate you completely. Man, whoever you are, as the king, think well. You can attach your transitory life to God himself and to immortality. Let nature thus regain all its sanctity and wisdom all its empire. The Supreme Being is not destroyed. People, fear no more their sacrilegious conspiracy. They can no more tear the world from the breast of its author than the remorse from their own heart.
What the hell's going on?
Conduct unbecoming me. Who the hell does Robespierre think he is? Jealous of your success, most like.
Yes. Yes, that would be it.
So, really want to teach that jumped out little troll a lesson. So,
Let nature thus regain all its magnificence and wisdom all its empire. The Supreme Being is not destroyed. You who are restless, hold up your woeful head. You can again raise your eyes Let us depend only on our constancy and our will.
What is it, sir?
Let us be
A pickpocket. Damn your eyes.
anger against
Bloody hell, what did they steal?
imperturbable in the
Nothing.
heat of danger. Patient in our work, terrible during setbacks, modest and vigilant in success. Let us not count on unalloyed prosperity. Triumph without obstacles, or on anything that depends upon the fortune or perversity of another. Now, whoever you are, again think well of yourself. Let nature thus regain all its magnificence, and wisdom all its empire. The Supreme Being is not destroyed. Let us be serious and discreet in all our deliberations, as men who determine the interests of the whole world. Let us be ardent and obstinate in our anger against imperturbable in the heat of danger. Patient in our
Look at
work,
that strutting
terrible
copy,
during
Jay.
setbacks.
That should set things in motion.
Damn pillock! You can't just bloody do what you please on my...
It is wisdom, above all, that our guilty enemies want to drive from the Republic. To wisdom alone does it belong to consolidate the prosperity of empire.
Being a list of enemies of the revolution. 100 names here.
Robespierre's gone too far this time.
That set the fox in the hen house.
Pity the hens. Now what?
We wait. It won't take long. Once Robespierre has lost the support of the people, he'll be no more use to Germain. And when Germain abandons him...
He's vulnerable. Let's go.
There we have it. Robespierre is out. And that'll end today's episode. So thanks for watching, coming around. We'll see you next time. Bye for now.